Hello, hello, and welcome. Giving everyone a minute just to get settled and get into the webinar itself. All right, we're gonna get started. So hello and good morning or afternoon, wherever you may be. My name is Matthew DeGeeter. I'm the Senior Vice President of Strategic Enterprises at the American Society of Interior Designers. And I'm really happy and excited to welcome you to today's webinar, our ASID Member Benefit Spotlight, featuring a brand new member benefit, the Talent Recruitment Program. So thank you for joining us today. You may have joined us for a few of our previous member benefit spotlights. So if so, welcome back. We're happy to have you, and we're happy to continue on with this series. If this is your first time joining us, this webinar series highlights ASID member benefits tailored for current individual members, organizational partners, and potential new members considering joining. So in the next 20 minutes, we're going to cover a few things. We're going to explore this new member benefit, hear from a member, learn how to sign up, and get your questions answered. So as attendees, your audio is muted and the attendee chat is disabled. However, please use the Q&A button on your toolbar to submit questions at any time. We will respond to your questions during the Q&A portion of today's webinar, but keep the questions coming. They're really helpful and they're valuable to learn and hear from you. So I will be your moderator for today's webinar, and I am joined by Ken Roberts, CEO and Principal at Interior Talent. So Interior Talent is our program partner for the ASID Member Talent Recruitment Program, and Beth Krupa, Principal Lead Designer at Beth Krupa Interiors. Beth is an ASID member and utilizes this member benefit. So we get to already hear from her as we're just getting this launched. Ken, Beth, welcome. We're thrilled to have you with us today.
Excited to be here.
Thank you. Very happy to be here.
All right. So first, we're going to go through the details. We're going to hear from Ken to provide info about the member benefit and options for ASID members. So Ken, over to you.
Well, great. Well, we are so excited to be able to launch this program for ASID members. I think it is something that's been needed for some time because we're trying to, this whole idea was to be really a bridge between somebody just posting a position, which can be effective, and someone that needed some additional support. We really wanted to come up with a plan where it can fit everyone's price point, but more importantly, give them the tools and arsenal so they can have a better, more effective hiring procedure in their company. Whether you're a solopreneur or hiring that first design assistant to somebody that's more established. And so we're honored that we can be able to launch this program a little bit more in depth with ASID and for their amazing membership. So with our first part about this is we have this in 3 tiers, and the tiers progress so that as you need some additional support, you can look at those different options. And so the first one that we're going to be looking at that is basically it's a basic package, right? It's a simple hired preparedness. This is really designed to make sure that you're just really ready. And what does that mean? So we're going to give you a 30-minute consultation to kind of go over, look at the job that you're looking to hire for and give you some feedback on that position. We're going to give you, it's personalized specifically to your company, to your position that you're looking to hire. Make sure you have a real understanding of, is that the right direction for the role that you're looking to hire? We give you an essential hiring toolkit that has loads of information, everything from interviewing tactics, onboarding tactics. What does it look like for retention? What are you going to do to keep this person that you spent all this time trying to hire? Look at different ways that you can utilize LinkedIn to do a search. We as recruiters, our company's been recruiting for 22 years, and we use LinkedIn as one of our tools. And we want to be able to give you that information. So we give you a step-by-step on how to use LinkedIn to use as a search tool. And we want to do a basic search for you just so you can have an understanding of what it looks like with some of those candidates out there that you may not know that are available. So we do this package 1, it's only $100. It's very economical. And then it moves into our next package, which is a little more enhanced. And the enhanced package is a little more money because we're giving you a lot more. The idea here is to really be your coach through this process. So we're going to give you 2 hours of our expertise, coaching you to understand exactly about the position you're looking to. We're going to do a job description revamp. We're going to take that job description and give you all the secrets that we use to make sure that we can get more eyeballs on that position for you. It's going to be tailored, once again, specifically to your company, to the role. We're going to do a much more advanced LinkedIn search for you so that you can have basically a grouping of candidates to potentially look at right away. We're going to go through your interview process because interviewing, we found some major inconsistencies in our industry, and we want to make sure that you're being thorough enough to ensure that at the end of the day, you're making the right hire. Okay. There's a saying of hire slow and fire fast. We want to make sure that we're putting enough thought process into that interview process. We're going to give you some recommendations how to make some changes on maybe your interviewing process. Maybe what does it look like potentially what you're going to maybe offer this person, right? And then we're going to sit in on one of your interviews, right? On a virtual interview. It could be a phone or it could be via video. And then we're going to give you an audit of that interview. Okay. We're going to be really try to give you some things to think about on how you can be a better interviewer. That's one thing from both sides as an interviewer or interviewee. We don't do it enough, thankfully, I guess, but we do it all the time. So we wanted to give you our expertise on that. The fee does adjust based on how much more we put into it. So there is some adjustments there because we can give you additional revisions on the positions. We can give you additional coaching. So, but as the package, as you see it here, that's on the lower end, that spectrum. And then that moves into our most advanced package where you want all of this great information. We're going to give you an initial consultation, which really tells you how this program works. Really goes into the fact that we are going to do a full service recruitment. The idea here is we take control of this for you to be your teammate through the process of hiring. So we go through, once again, we look at the job description. We go through the interview process. We go through everything. We're going to continue to coach you to really make sure you're ready and you have everything prepared. We're going to talk about your onboarding. What is your onboarding going to look like? What is your training going to look like so that you are truly prepared that as we then go through a full service recruitment, which means that we handle everything for the initial candidate sourcing. We go through extensive interviews, portfolio reviews with the candidates, and we boil it down from, and sometimes it could be 50 to 100 candidates that we go out and find rather than just applying to a job. And we interview them and we screen them to a point where we determine if they're the right candidates for you to, we think that it would be qualified and interested for the opportunity. We then submit those candidates to you with a full breakdown about them with resume and portfolio. You have a dedicated project manager, so that person is going to be your point person through this whole process to ensure that you have a great experience and we find you the right candidate that you want to hire. On top of that, an additional benefit as an ASID member is we give you an extended guarantee. So our traditional guarantee is only 90 days, but we give you 120 days, which is a whole nother month to ensure that you're going to have success. It gives you more time with this new hire, which means that there is a full replacement that can happen at no additional cost if that person were to fall off for whatever reason. These packages are really designed to ensure that you have every opportunity, and we can also look at them as they progress. If you decide that you want to move up, we would of course accommodate that from a fee structure. But this full service one is if you've done everything else and you still need support, we're here to help you in that way. But it is a reduced placement fee from our standard fees. Specifically for ASID, it's reduced down to 22%. And that is our package. A lot of information in a short period of time, but that's it, Matt.
And it's great. And thank you so much for structuring these 3 different options, because the best part about this is no matter your firm size or your needs, there's something available for you. So to scale up depending on the type of position or the type of support that you're looking for. What we really wanted to do for you as our ASID members is make it as easy as possible. You don't have a lot of time as a business owner. You're probably really focused on what you need to do for your clients or what you need with your current staff. So, we're bringing in the experts to help you succeed. And to take that to the next step, we're going to invite Beth to give us her perspective and her experience as well. I'm going to stop that screen share for a minute. And Beth, over to you. So you've actually experienced this a bit. I think you had that level 1 basic hiring preparedness package that you worked with Ken's team on in particular. So what was that like?
I did, thank you. And we're also, kind of in the middle of probably going to the full service package. Ken, I'm sure people are gonna want to ask also about the reduced rate that you're going to be offering the members too. I know that was one of the first questions I asked. So
Yes.
as designers, we all want to know that. So although we have a small team of there's 7 of us now, I've tried so many different methods of hiring, and some were successful, others not. But the bottom line was they were all really time consuming. So that's the one thing we all have in common. We're all very time poor as interior designers. Um, I saw Ken giving a talk at High Point this last market in October, and I stopped. I was intrigued, and it was a great talk, a lot of information. So I contacted him afterwards, and we just kind of took it from there. I happened to be looking for a position. Actually, I was calling it a different title, and that's one of the first things Ken talked to me about was changing the name of the position, which was a great help. So I'm actually looking more for an office manager, kind of project manager, and I was calling it, a cost manager or something like that. So that was a really, great tidbit of advice right there. Um, but that was, that's, I guess that's kind of the gist of it. That's kind of how I started and why I was there and why I reached out. So yeah.
Perfect. Thank you so much. I mean, I'm curious to know then, Beth, as well, and maybe also Ken, from your experience, you know, what was the learning? Like, what did you find out along the process? And what has that experience been like, Beth, working with Ken so far? Because you said you're in the midst of this process yet. And so, has it, been easier along the way? Has it given you maybe, I don't know, like some peace of mind, knowing that you've got the kind of like the backing of interior talent on the search process too?
Yeah. Ken, did you want to
Yeah.
answer the first part?
Well, I mean, I'll start off with first that, Beth has incredible reputation in the industry, and it was really great to kind of obviously meet her and then talk to her. And, she's so right that firms are, I'm never going to be a designer, right? That's not my specialty. And I think that what happens is we sometimes forget that we can have partners and have resources so we continue to focus in our lane and where we could be successful. And I know as designers, your clients are very demanding. And so we love, we were only playing the sandbox with designers and architects. And so to be able to be a resource for her, to be able to give her some advice and or potentially find this person for her so that she can continue moving and working on her business rather than working in the business, that's really where it's that time saver is a big aspect of it. But Beth's concern about what you call that position is very common, right? This industry is, as far as titles, it's nuanced, right? It doesn't have a lot of consistency. So sometimes those little tweaks can make a big difference. But once again, we use outside research for things. Having a different perspective sometimes can make a huge impact. As you all are designers, your clients look at you and like, how did you come up with that, right? Because that's what you do. So, we're in the midst of this process of potentially going to a full service with Beth, and we're excited about this because if we can be a bigger resource, we'd love to be, but we want to meet her and any of her clients where they're at as far as what do they need the most support with. So
That's a really helpful piece. And Beth, it actually makes me realize that probably one question we should have asked you up front is also like, how big is your company? Like, are you in one location, multiple locations, just to give context, for the scale of your enterprise, if you will, but also to help others understand like why working with, a consultant such as Ken can really help you out as well.
So I consider us to be relatively small. We have one location. We do have a retail boutique down on the first floor. We're off of Greenwich Avenue. So we have 2 part-time sales associates affiliated with that. And then 4 interior designers in about 1,500 square feet on the second floor. And then 1 virtual person that helps us. She's about 30 hours a week with marketing, and she does any ads we do. She also helps me a little bit with the business aspects of things. So, so that's why right now I have one of the designers that's that's doing a lot of the position that we're trying to fill. And I think, I need really somebody that's like bookkeeper type, analytical, that kind of thing to fill that void that we need. So,
Yeah.
and then I think, one of the things that intrigued me about what Ken does is, there's what you call active candidates and passive candidates, and the passive ones are the ones that already have a job. And there's nothing wrong with the ones that are looking. I mean, we've all been in that position. Some of us more than others, I'm sure I've been looking for a job a few times. But it's great to have the big bucket of people that already have the positions, and then maybe they're just not quite happy for whatever reason. There's I don't even need to go into that. We all know the reasons why somebody wants to be looking for another job. And Ken finds those candidates. So that's, to me, that was the big value, is that he can source people that I, may not have had access to. And even if and he actually will tell you how to get access to those people, which I thought was very giving of him. But I also I'm not the kind of person that can give that person a call and work that. And he'll even tell you how to do that. It's just that I'm not that person. And I don't have the time to be, calling people that already have a job and, saying, I love your work, and and it's a dance. It really is. And if he can do that with his people, with 50 to 100 people, and get me, I don't know how many, 10, 12 people to talk to, that to me is worth a lot of money. So, it's just a matter of where you are in your life of your business, and how much money you have to time, and time is money, and we all know that. So, and we all have our expertise, and that's not mine. One of the things I told Ken is I probably should not be the first interview, because I always want to make it work. It's like our clients, we always find the positive in everything, and this room is, can be gold. It can be, and I find that with candidates too. So I'm not the best interviewer. I should have other people do the first interview. And he thought that was quite funny and quite true of a lot of designers. We always find the good in things, and that's
Right.
not always a good thing when you're interviewing.
I think that's such a smart comment right there, though. It's like, know your own skill set, know your own talents, and also where should you be investing your time? Because, vetting and going through, 50 to 100 candidates, that's a lot, especially if you're trying to balance your day-to-day business. And
Yeah.
if you're able to work with someone like Ken, who can bring you, here's the top 10, or maybe even the top 5. And so then your effort is really focused as the business owner and the final decision maker, and that you're able to build that trust with someone like Ken and the interior talent team.
Yeah. Beth's modest. The size of your firm, Beth, is bigger than most firms, most design firms, right? You've done some pretty amazing things, but at the same time, with more staff, you're pulled in a lot more directions. You have a lot more clients, a lot more things. So yes, time is everything, but I think it's also that, what we try to do is put another layer or layers in the interview process, right? So when we don't hire the person, right? But we go through a lot of levels to ensure that this person not only has the qualifications, but more importantly, has the interest. And to Beth's comment before about why reason people may leave is that, yeah, they might not be happy, but sometimes they just don't know about your firm. And so as an ambassador, right, whether you want to be the ambassador of your firm or we can be the ambassador of your firm, giving a new light to who Beth Group Interiors is, they were like, oh, I didn't know that existed. That seems amazing. Their culture seems incredible. Whatever it may be, those are it's more of that than just being unhappy, right? So it's what's might be a better opportunity, a better fit for them. So we try to look at those aspects of it too. But time is money, and we want to help give you back some time, because we don't get any more.
No, and that's how you're paid, especially as a designer, depending on the way that you're structuring your fees. Like, so that hour spent searching and sourcing is an hour that you're probably not billing. And that's important, especially if you're on the billable hour format too. So I just want to remind our audience on a couple of things. One, if you have any questions about this program, please use the Q&A function in the chat, but also just to make sure that you have the resource at your fingertips, I'm dropping a link into the chat as well, so you can see this on the ASID website. And also, I think let's make sure that you have a chance to know how to sign up for this program. So first, go to that link that was just shared for you as well. You can get this in two different ways. One, make sure you sign into your ASID account. Since this is a member benefit program, we actually want to make sure that this does have the member firewall. And so you have to log into your account once you get to asid.org. And then you can navigate this in two different ways. One, go to under resources, ASID Advantage, and you'll see the talent recruitment program. Or two, under resources, you'll find Design Business by ASID as well. And so you'll be able to click into that as well. So you've got two different pathways. It's either through Design Business or ASID Advantage, but you'll see the one big button, sign up. And that actually takes you to a form that you just fill in some basic information about your company and your position that you're looking for. And Ken's team will follow up right there. Trying to make this as easy as possible. I don't think there's a simpler form I've seen, Ken, as for any of our programs that we've been able to do. And we did that intentionally in order to make it as easy as possible for you as our members, because as we've just said, time is money for you. And if you're looking to hire somebody, let's make this as easy as possible for you to get in touch with the right people at the right place and the right time and take advantage of all these resources available from ASID as well.
Great.
So with that, though, we've got still a few minutes for audience Q&A, and then I'll stop share for one more minute there as the audience gives you a chance to give us some questions. But Ken, I'm wondering if, you talked about the level 1, 2, and 3, so the basic, enhanced, and premium packages.
Mhm.
And so you also made a comment of the ability to scale up between those.
Mhm.
And so what does that look like? And when do you need to maybe make that decision or get guided into that decision when engaging in this program?
Right. So what we would do basically, we would basically apply, 50% of the tier 1 into a tier 2. But then if they went into a tier 3, we would apply all that towards the actual placement fee to ensure that, because it encompasses so much, right, through that process. One, they're going to be educated, so they'll have some additional arsenal for their own if they decide to do other positions on their own. But if we continue to move up, we would apply those fees into the actual to the overall placement fee. And to Beth's point earlier, is the placement fee is reduced. We're typically at 25%. It's reduced to 22%. But the bigger aspect of it is that it's an extended guarantee from 90 days to 120 days on the advanced package. So.
And something to think about as well, how much time should you dedicate to a job search for filling a position? Like what kind of runway?
So I would say that as far as a firm, if a principal, well, and Beth, you could probably answer this too, but I would say that a typical hire for a design firm, let's say even a junior to mid-level designer, you're going to probably, interview anywhere from 3 to 5 candidates at a minimum. You're probably, with some of those, you may go through at least 2 interviews, and then hopefully get down to 1. So if you look at right there, you're probably investing, as much as 10 hours of your time just from the interviewing aspects of it, potentially. But then you have to look at the sourcing aspect of it. How many resumes do you need to look through? So, I would say an average position could take you as many as 20 to 40 hours over a period of time, depending on how quickly you look through resumes, your sourcing of candidates. When we look for a particular job for our clients, we're spending, could be as much as anywhere from 4 to 6 weeks, not full time on that position, but there is a whole process of candidates we look at. So it can be extensive, but it depends on the role too, right? A different position of different levels may have a little more intensity of search. If this candidate is going to do a design project, as a design charrette, to ensure that they have the right skill sets, CAD testing, all those things take time as well.
Yeah, they definitely do. And you got to account for that because you made one of those really good business points that's like tidbits for everyone to take away is quick, like be slow to hire because you want to make sure you're getting the right person for the right job with the right culture fit because it's really hard when it's not the right connection and not the right fit at the end of the day.
Yeah, I'll just use this, and people don't realize, but a bad hire can be the value of a minimum of 3 times their annual salary. And people always ask me, how is that possible, Ken, if they only last 6 months? Well, think about how many projects they may have touched in that 6 months. How many mistakes did they make? Did they talk to a client and upset a client? What is that worth? Did they talk to a vendor and upset a vendor? What is that worth? There are so many things that can happen through a bad hire that the ripple effect can be very, very intense. So when you look at the value, what was your time? If you're at $150, $200 an hour, the time to hire that person and to rehire another person. So all that adds up. And so when you get to executive level, it can be as much as 10 times their annual salary because of the amount of impact they may have on the business. So it's all correlates, but 3 times their annual salary, a $60,000 candidate, that's pretty intensive and pretty intense. Yeah. So slow to hire is absolutely right. Fast to fire.
Be patient with that process as well.
Yeah.
Beth, a question for you too, because you were talking about the candidate and the type of role that you are searching for, and you actually have a pretty interesting business model because of your retail component. So you have people on site. You also have virtual, somebody who's working virtually or remotely for you, I believe as well. And then, how did you decide that what role you needed to hire for, like as for your business? Is this a replacement role that you're currently pursuing, or is this a completely new position?
So we have 4 designers, interior designers, on the second floor. One of us is part-time, but 3 of us are full-time. One of the 3 of us is currently doing the role of what I'm trying to hire for. And I just don't think it's a role that a designer should be doing. It's a lot of procurement, invoicing, tracking, that kind of thing. And it's not really a designer mindset. It's very, bookkeeper sort of detail oriented, and a lot of administration, office management kind of thing that I have basically a junior associate designer level person doing.
So I think
It's not that she's doing a bad job. It's just that I think she could be doing other things for me more effectively, and then I could hire somebody to do that.
you said it for me right there. It's like, know what you need the person to do and leverage their talents for what they can do, like for the most value for your company. That's exactly it. And it's
and one of the also thing I just think, I just need to mention for people that haven't done a lot of hiring, you really need to meet the person more than one time in person. And I used to think, a Zoom interview and coming in to meet us in person once was enough. It's really not. I think if they can come in once, maybe a little more formally because they're, a little nervous. And then if you could do something where it's maybe just a coffee, maybe with some of the team, or a lunch, or, maybe it just feels a little more casual or something. It's just to, I just to feel their demeanor, how they dress, so it's not just the one shiny moment. It matters. It just, the guards down, you just start to really get a sense for really who they are. And it's not like just kind of on stage for that one couple of hours, because you can only act for so long. And it really, it's a family here. We really, we really care about each other. We really support each other. And it really does matter the type of personality that comes in to us. So, like Ken said, a wrong fit it just kind of can sour everything. And then we all feel like we're covering for that person, and we're happy to do it to a point, and then we kind of start to feel a little beaten up. So that's not really good for anybody. So, yeah. anyway,
I mean,
that's,
the best thing there is, you know, your culture, you know,
Yeah.
your firm's culture, and you know
Yeah.
what fits, and
Yeah.
you're taking the time to
Yeah.
figure that out as well.
And the other, I'm sorry, one more quick thing. The other
Please.
nice thing I thought about what Ken mentioned, and I'm from the Midwest. I'm sure it's true of everywhere, but it's nice having somebody else talk about nice things about your company because it's hard for us to talk about our own company in that way, to your own horn kind of thing. You know, I find that hard to do. So to have Ken be sort of an advocate for us and the spokesperson for us is nice. You know, it's just nice to have somebody out there doing that, selling us basically on our behalf to all those 50, 100 candidates. Because I can't, you know, to me, it sounds a little painful for me to do that over and over and over again. I'm happy to talk about my company, you know, and I'm very proud of it and very sincere about it, but I can't imagine doing that over and over and over again. So, you know, thank you, Ken, for doing that for us. So that's also a nice thing too, to have somebody else do that for you, to sell you.
And you know, with that, because they're going to get the message from you when they come in for an interview, right? So they're going to hear it from you directly.
Yeah.
But it's that old saying, if you hear the same thing from two different people, it sinks in more. Then they're like, oh, wow, okay, this is really good. And really, first impressions matter, right? So having, you know, it is time consuming, like you mentioned, but talking to that person, getting them excited about your company, there's a little dance with that, right? And sometimes, you know, with those passive candidates more specifically, they don't need to make a change, right? So the whole idea is that, you know, to be able to get them excited about making a change to your company is we find it a lot of fun, but it can be exhausting for a lot of people, right? Because you know, you don't necessarily like to brag about themselves. So we can brag for you.
All right. Well, it looks like we're actually getting really close to the time, and this has been a really helpful conversation and like insight into this new ASID member talent recruitment program. So I think what I'm going to do is wrap this up for us. And just as a reminder, we will have a recording of this presentation on the ASID YouTube channel, as well as the ASID website, and also in the Member Hub library on Design Connection. So first thing, huge thank you. Thank you to our audience. Thank you for being here. And also thank you, Ken. Thank you, Beth. Really appreciate hearing from both of you. One, our program partner, and Beth as a member. Thank you for being a member, as well as taking advantage of this new member talent recruitment program and sharing all of this insights into the process and what it's been like for you. So a recording will be available, as I mentioned, on YouTube, the ASID website, Design Connection by ASID, and we'll also send that out to everybody for all of our attendees too. So please be sure to fill out the survey at the conclusion of the webinar. Your feedback always helps us improve the program. And we're actually going to be continuing the series in January. So this is the last one for 2024. On Thursday, January 16th at 2 p.m. Eastern, we will host the next webinar, Leveraging Your Design Finder by ASID Industry Partner Benefit. So we actually had one specifically for our practitioners last week. We're going to have one of these Design Finder webinars for our industry partners as well in January too. So be sure to check out all the programs available through Design Business by ASID to help you start, build, and sustain a healthy practice. And with that, we want to say thank you and have a great day.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.